So how are we gonna make this ugly piece of wood look like a really pretty door? Easily. First of all, I'm gonna take a ruler and a pencil, and I'm just gonna go around and draw some lines so it's gonna be like a border. And it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. It just has to be cute when it's done. All right. Stay still. Okay, so we've got our little square drawn rectangle, and then I have some of this. It is Woodubend Trim. So this stuff is fantastic because it's like the fancy trim that you would buy in your hardware store, only as it heats up, it becomes more bendable. And you can see it's very hot and humid in the van right now, so it's actually a little bendable. But you typically take a hair blower to it or your heat tool, and you can straighten it out, and then we're gonna glue it on there. Now I have some thin ones, I have some thick ones, and I think I'm gonna kind of stagger them around in the van, not doing all matchy-matchy. It's gonna look really cute. And then we're gonna prime the whole thing white after that is glued on. I'm gonna have to take the door off to do it, to kind of hold it in place. We're gonna prime it all white, and then later down the road, when I get around to doing all the cupboard doors, I will paint it whatever color I choose at that point. But for now, it's just gonna get primed white like everything else in here. So that's what I'm up to right now. Okay, so here's the kitchen cupboards. I still have to add an end piece on, but they're all painted white, just with primer. I've already loaded them up. I know, I was supposed to do some pretty decoupage like I did back there. But I guess I used the last of the Mod Podge, or it's packed somewhere and I don't know where it is. So we're gonna have to leave it for now because I have plans next week. So we're gonna just put some end pieces on. I've got the baskets that'll hold everything in there for now, and that's what we're dealing with. At some point, I will have enough wood to do all doors on it, but for now, that's what we're working with. Okay, so let's get to making these cupboards pretty. First of all, we're gonna start off with our Woodubend Trim, and as you can see there, when I'm bending it, it's really, really stiff. In fact, it's what you'd call brittle. If I bent it too far, it would snap. I'll show you that in a few minutes. But I have a heat tool. Before I stole my husband's heat tool, I used to just use a hair blower. Either of them work. Some people like to just stick the roll on top of a little hot plate to warm it up. I just find this is quick and easy. So once you heat it up though, check that out. Look how pliable it is. It's like a piece of string almost now. So this is an amazing kind of wood because you can still stain it. It is paintable. If I let this cool and decide that I want it in a different shape, I can reheat it up over and over and over again and reshape it. It can work around things like bottles and jars. It doesn't have to be just used on wood. It's just a fabulous, fabulous product. And I haven't found anything else like it. So there's one piece that I just snapped to show you what it's like when it's cold. And then you just simply heat it up and then you can flatten it out. Now, you're going to see as I do this, the other thing about it though is because the house is not overly warm. I'm in an old farmhouse. When I lie it out flat, it doesn't always want to stay flat. Sometimes it'll kind of buckle some, so then you have to put something heavy on it to hold it in place, unless you have some sort of glue that's going to be really fast acting. But I'm using wood glue because I'm doing it wood on wood, and I do want the longevity that the wood glue is going to give me. So I am going to have to set things on it to kind of hold it in flat, and I might have to heat it up occasionally while I'm gluing it down just to get it to lie flat. But once you get it down flat, which really isn't that hard, I'm probably making it sound so much worse than it is. It's there. Once it cools, it's in that shape. There you can see it wants to curl up right away. So I'm going to lie something on it. Have you noticed though that I'm cutting this and it's actually wood fibers and I'm cutting it with an X-Acto knife? I don't have to get out a saw. I can even cut it with a pair of scissors, but I'm trying to miter corners here. So, well, not quite yet, but soon I will be. I'm doing the bottom piece here in pieces because I'm going to put a little doorknob there. So I do want a separation there in the center. I also don't want to waste this stuff because it's not the cheapest stuff, as any wood trim is. You can get a little pricey. So I do want to use up every piece. So it's easy to join though. You just warm it up and you can just kind of mold it back together. But the details in this is amazing. It looks like it's been hand carved. It is so, so pretty. So here I am just trying to lie it flat while it cools. Putting some heavy objects on it. Usually it's paint cans or something. This is just what I had handy. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue it down. Now I'm using Surebonder, a wood glue. It's a wood glue that I like, but if you prefer Gorilla Glue or whatever kind of wood glue you prefer, absolutely go for it. But this is just what I have, what I love. It holds it pretty quickly, and I can also use it on other surfaces, not just on wood, so I really do like this. So you can see here I'm warming up the corner, and then my piece did buckle a little bit, so I'm warming it back up a bit too. And I'm going to layer these corners. Let me zoom in for you so you can get a closer look. So I'm just going to layer them on top of each other. Now I'm lying these pieces on top of that little, pencil line that I had. So I know it's somewhat straight, but a little off isn't going to kill me. And I'm going to cut through both of those layers of the Woodubend. And then pop out those little pieces. And see how I cut it on that corner? And that gives me an almost perfect miter cut in the corner. And then I can just press this down a little more. And then we're going to add some glue to the back of this one. And then we'll lie it into place as well. So I'm just going down that pencil line. And then we'll apply this into place. Pretty easy, right? But look at the definition. Like, this is like a vine pattern on this. It's so pretty. And then once I get this painted later down the road, it'll probably be 2026 by the time I get around to that. But once I get this painted, I can use different colored waxes and stuff like that and really make these details pop. So you'll see later on in the future. I'll get that done. But this is a slow process for me because I am just doing it as I can afford the wood and stuff to finish the van. So right now we're doing these cupboards, and then, later down the road, maybe when I'm monetized here on YouTube, I'll be able to do the other side. And once we get it, everything is primed, then I'll go ahead and I'll do a good coat of painting, and then we'll add some waxes and some fancy details. It's an ongoing project. Also, I want to be able to enjoy the van in between. I don't want to just devote all my time to working on the van. I want to actually get out and enjoy it a bit. Like you've seen actually in previous videos where my daughter and I went out on our trip. So, if you want to see us speed up this process, you could always subscribe and leave a comment. That helps us out very much. We are so close to being monetized. Fingers crossed that it will be monetized. I was hoping by Christmas. Now I'm thinking maybe by spring. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But every comment helps. Also, I just love talking to you all. So if you have any questions or you like what you see, just, let me know in the comments. All right, let's continue on with this. Actually, you know what I would love to know from you is how many of you have heard of Woodubend before? That is spelled Woodubend. Have you heard of this kind of trim before? Or how many of you have actually tried it? I typically have always used it in crafting. This is the first time it's actually, I was going to say I've typically done it in crafting and I haven't done it in home decor, but back when I was painting furniture is when I actually first came across this. And I used to use it back then. That was going back a few years. But then I've used it in crafting since. And it's just fabulous. Okay, so here we are. We're going to join these little pieces. Just make sure the pattern is going in the same direction. And when you squeeze them together, you're not even going to see that split after, especially once you get the paint in there, and you're not even going to notice it. Now, any glue that is oozing out, I do like to take a baby wipe and just kind of go along and clean that up, because that will harden, and although it's a paintable surface, it's just not going to give us that pretty sharp edge that the Woodubend gives us. So this is a very reasonable way to, oops, just pulled that off, oops. It's a very reasonable way to take an old piece of plywood. Now, this is not good plywood. It's like, it's got where the knots are, it might be indents. It's not perfect by any means, but it's what I had. And by adding trim like this, and then later on painting it and using the waxes or decoupaging, or maybe even adding decal to it, it's going to really like fancy it up that you would never know that it was just a cheap, crappy, you know, leftover piece of plywood. Just a fun way to personalize it all. There I am, just going to cut this piece here right through 2 layers. That amazes me, because woodworking is something that I've always hated, the exact measurements, like having to know what my angle was going to be in those corners would have drove me nuts, and you would have had to make sure that everything is perfectly plumb and square, right? With Woodubend, if it's got a little wiggle on it, it's not a big deal, because it'll just, you know, join. Like you can see right now, this end piece that I've got, it's not perfectly straight. It's kind of beveled in a little bit, and that's okay. Once it's all together, it just adds personality. Now, if you're a perfectionist and you want to go perfectly straight, by all means go at it, but that's not me. Okay, so now I'm just going to speed up the process for you, because you've seen how it goes, and we'll jump ahead to getting the second coat of paint on it as well, so you can see it all painted up before I apply it into place. I lost the footage of the first coat of paint. I don't know what happened. I thought I hit the button, but apparently I didn't. Don't you love that when you're making a video? Maybe you don't have that problem, but I do it often. I go to make a video and I realize, oops, I didn't actually hit the button. Anyways, this is the second coat going on, and you can see how lovely that detail is. And it's really going to pop more, like I said, when I do an actual coat of paint, not just this primer. And then we add some waxes to it to really, you know, make everything pop. But I hope you've enjoyed this. I think it's you know, something that you don't see in every van, so I was hoping to show you something a little different. And also, I want this van to kind of reflect my personality and my interests, and that is crafting, even though I haven't been crafting as much as I used to. But there it is in place, and my cute little teapot handles that were actually from my mom's house. I just love having a bit of mom with me. She passed away a few years ago, and when we sold her house, actually, I pulled all these knobs off and replaced them with plain ones because she loved these so much. And there you go. That's what it looks like. I think it's cute. I think it's really cute. I love it. I hope you do too. All right. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, hit that subscribe, leave me a comment, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
You and me, girl, just wild.